Dear Mama, let's take a deep dive past sex tips and tricks, beyond stimulation, and center our pleasure. Pleasure lasts beyond orgasms. Pleasure pours into us, inspires us, and touches our deepest creativity. In this episode, we're talking naked yoga, black porn, weekday sex, and kundalini. So this is what we call an earbuds episode, meaning this episode contains explicit language of a sexual nature. So you may want to ask your little ones to pop in their earbuds or pop in yours. And we want to hear from you. So please keep emailing us, keep engaging with us through social media comments, your reviews, and SoundCloud comments, and keep sharing us, even if it's only with one person. If you're a new listener, welcome to the ride. Be sure that you're subscribed wherever you're listening and follow us across all social media platforms at Dem Black Mamas. And we truly, truly, truly want to be Black Mama built. So we're excited about the Patreon community that we're creating. So please consider investing in us by becoming a DBM patron, buying some merch, or giving us a one-time donation. All links are in our social media bios and on our website in the show notes. Now, let's get free, y'all. Let's feel free, y'all, and discover what's blocking you from accessing your pleasure. And let's jump into episode 23 of
Dem Black Mamas.
Welcome back to the ride. I'm Crystal Tennille Irby, mother of 4, 3 boys and 1 girl.
And I'm Thea Monnier, mother of 3 girls.
And I'm Nekisha Killings, also mother of 3 girls.
And we are in episode 23, I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you everyone for listening to, I know, I'm extra proud. So thank you all for listening to our last episode. Ask us anything. Thank you all for sending us questions. Thank you all for the love. Thank you all for the comments. We hope that you were inspired. We hope that you learned something. I know I was certainly inspired by you all reaching out to us and you all engaging at us. So we really, really appreciate it. Oh, and thank you to everyone who joined us on Instagram Live before we started recording. That was really cool. I just showed a little bit of our podcast setup to let people know that it's not fancy or complicated to do this. It's just like real basic. We're not in the studio. We just like at our houses.
That's it.
I'm in the corner of my dining room recording this podcast. So I just wanted to show people, you know, what it's like to do that. So our show lineup is basically the same. We're going to start out with church announcements, as always. Then we're going to roll into our mac and cheese segment, which is about Black mamas and pleasure. Whenever I say it, I have to. And then we have a very innovative collection plate cards that I'm super excited about. And we're going to wrap up with Black Mama Say. So let's jump into our church announcements. I just love to do this every single time. Hello, beloveds. Here are this week's church announcements and prayer list requests. Okay, so I'm going to start. I need to be put on the prayer list. RJ and I have a show coming up together. Ooh. Yes, the last time RJ and I performed together, we rehearsed. He wrote.
I remember that. He went rogue. But
right.
I want to say he inherited that trait. We have discussed how you've gone rogue on me.
He was so proud of himself, too.
He didn't go rogue. He abandoned me.
We weren't on the stage, but we had a plan, bitch. We're not going to go back. I just want to say that we're criticizing RJ. The babies come by it. Honestly,
we rehearsed, and I got up there and I was all alone. He literally disappeared off the stage. He was like the Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson.
I love that.
Where he's walking back into the bushes. That was RJ. So please just put us on the prayer list. We've been booked.
We were booked. Yes. Which only reinforces to RJ that the first one was a hit.
That's it.
So proper. And this is what's happening to black men, y'all. This is what's happening to black men. No matter what Crystal tries to do, he can go right back into society, do a half-ass performance, and be rebooked. I want y'all to know, if that was a little girl, this shit would not happen. But this is not about the patriarchy. I fully support my nephew RJ in all efforts. I just have to point this out.
So I'm just saying, put us on the prayer list because we have
Take Karis back up.
Karis does not like to share the stage.
Then at least he won't leave it.
True. So put us on the prayer list for this show.
Keep us posted. Yeah. I can't see how this ends well. I
can't either, Nekisha. I just feel like the reinforcements alone are rough.
The lyrics are really good. He wrote the lyrics himself, and they're really, really good. So I'm just hoping.
This is why we have the prayer list, for the things that we do not know. For the things that we cannot see.
Yeah. So send us some energy on that. Okay. So Thea.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to gear up to go back into the second part of my sex therapy training. So pray for me, because that is 8 days of 8-hour classes, and it's a joy, but it's a task. I'm doing this for y'all though, but I'm excited because it's the second part of it, and I plan on finishing everything over the summer, and that'll be a trained sex therapist. Woo-hoo. I'm excited for my next in session too. So the next in session is going to be decolonizing creativity, addressing creative blocks rooted in not enoughness. And so we're going to talk about how the not enoughness aspect, when we talk about people of color and Black people creating, that's also rooted in them having to decolonize how they define their creativity, how they define success from their creativity, and what they envision that to look like. So it's going to be another in-depth course, but it's really meant to just free us up to create the work that we were meant to create, basically. So that's coming up. And then I'm really excited about this announcement. So I've been listening to Patrice Washington's Redefining Wealth podcast. And one of the episodes, she was talking about comparisons. And she talked about comparisons and the stories that we tell ourselves. And so she was sharing how, for the longest time, she was saying, I don't run. I don't run. I do these other workouts, but I don't run, right? And then one day said, what do I mean I don't run? I can run. Why am I saying I can't do something that I can actually do? And it made me think about the stories that I'm telling myself. One of the ones you all heard me say before was, I don't do social media, right? I said that so many times, and I'm doing social media, right? So one of the bigger ones was, I don't like taking pictures and I don't look good in pictures. And how you gonna blow up, bitch, if you can't take no pictures, right? Now, Nekisha doesn't have this problem at all. Crystal doesn't have, Nekisha does not have this problem. Nekisha and Crystal doesn't have this problem. Maybe this is some Southern training that I missed, right? But I wanted to confront this. I scheduled a photo shoot with a wonderful friend, Elaine, who is just a gorgeous person. And I needed the right energy to do this. I scheduled the photo shoot and I gassed myself up for 2 days straight. I was like, bitch, you take the best pictures ever. Girl, your pictures are the bomb. I was on
you got them hard R's in there.
I got the hard
R's. She went all the way.
Them LA Inglewood R's.
So I gassed myself up, right? And I was like, you know what? It don't matter how many bad pictures you take, because you got to take bad pictures to get to the good pictures. I'm giving myself all kind of mantras. And I go to do the photo shoot, and I have this secret place I know to do photo shoots where there's just a million different colors to pick from. And this was one of the most liberating experiences. It was just I felt like an entirely different person, and I felt free of this idea, right? And so it was beautiful. I'm loving the pictures. What I realized is, I'm gonna segue this to a body thing. I don't have a full-length mirror in my house. These two looked at me like crazy.
I don't have enough mirrors in my house.
I don't have a full-length mirror in my house. And so what I realized is I hadn't seen my body naked in a long time.
Wow.
So I said, I need to take pictures so I can see myself. So I started taking pictures, and I looked at the pictures, and I was like, oh my God. I was just I was sad the rest of the night. I felt low. And the next morning, I was like, I can't carry this energy with me. I have to do something to recenter and reconnect with this body, right? I have to love this body. So I took some orange essential oil, because that's the sacral. I set up my camera, and I did naked yoga.
Oh.
And I did naked yoga, and I took pictures. And what I learned from that is pictures capture what we believe at that time. The night before, I was in my head already believing that my body wasn't going to be good enough. And the pictures, that's what it looked like. It looked like a body that I didn't love. And then the next morning, when I gave it love, and then I went into this naked yoga practice, these pictures came out so beautiful. And it's the same fucking body, right? It's the same body.
Yeah.
And it just really made me realize the power of our perception and our stories, and also the power of taking these pictures of yourself more frequently so that you can really check your own beliefs about yourself, capture what you're feeling, evaluate it. I never knew that the whole time I felt like I was taking bad pictures, it was because the photos were capturing me believing that I take bad pictures. I mean, I almost sent them to y'all in the group thread, but I was like, that would have been. Also, y'all like to throw shade. So I was like, I'm not ready.
I probably would have said something about your skinny ass. You know what I mean?
Well, I am about to throw some shade. Oh, shout out to Patrice and her podcast. What's the name of her podcast?
Redefining Wealth.
Redefining Wealth. Shout out, Patrice. Great.
Come on the show whenever you're ready.
Come on the show.
We're going to have a money episode. We got to have a money episode.
There's a butt coming.
There's a butt coming.
I know.
I just find it utterly amazing.
Okay.
That for the past 2 years, I have been telling Thea, you need to take more pictures of yourself. You should take more pictures of yourself. You have a great following. You should really, build that on Instagram. People really, really want to engage with you. And I am just.
But that wasn't about the story I was telling myself.
I am utterly
Patrice
amazed.
Revealed
I am utterly amazed that for the past 2 years, I have been saying this, and she listens to an episode. No shade to Patrice. No,
because we want her on the show, so no shade.
I talk to Thea on a daily basis. I am in 2 group threads with you.
Y'all know how Crystal feels about having been telling somebody something and then they get it from another source.
Yeah.
It's not only that she got it from another source. Mm-hmm. Then she could be like, and it confirmed what Crystal has been telling me. It's an epiphany.
Okay, you did say to take pictures, right? But I was afraid of taking the picture.
Right. So I didn't have the depth, is what you're saying. I didn't have the depth to give the advice.
Oh, this is just back out.
I would like to say, you know what this reminds me of? The episode of The Apprentice where Dionne Warwick wanted it to say conceptualized by Dionne Warwick. Remember that? And she really shut down production over that shit. Remember that? She was like, I wanted to say conceptualized, idea by. So idea by Crystal Tennille-Earpy, produced by.
Shout out to
Patrice
Washington. Thank you so much for helping Thea get her breakthrough. Shout out to the photographer because the picture
Elaine
really, really, really do look amazing. I'm very grateful for your breakthrough, boo. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much. I can taste the salt, but I appreciate the meal. Thank you so much. I can taste the salt, but I appreciate thank you so
It's
much.
Flavorful. It's a flavorful meal.
Nekisha, you go on with your announcements.
Let's see what I got. Trying to see which of my business I'm going to tell in this here announcement.
I know.
We talked last episode about some speaking engagements I have coming up. The only thing that's new will be a lecture I'll be doing on mastitis and engorgement.
Ooh, where are you doing that?
That would be on Lactation Education Resources website. It's lactationtraining.com. Complete that this week, so hopefully in March you will be able to hear. Yeah.
I have a quick question about these lectures. So I am a doula going towards my certification, right? Mm-hmm. And we have to do a course around breastfeeding. Mm-hmm. Do you know if these can count? I think this is a question that a lot of doulas may have. So this can count?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I recommend them all around. I think that's my work, my business update, but my other business update, my personal stuff.
Your business with the Z, business update. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, gosh. So I am happy to announce that we'll be having our first DBM baby.
I mean,
this
I just
summer.
felt like you should have said
we doing that. I know I wasn't ready. Okay, here we go. Y'all, we've been holding this one in.
I mean, like, how long was I?
We
Should I
have
hold
been
it to the
holding
next
this
month?
one
I feel like
in.
it's pretty far along now.
You know, every time we started the show, when she said the 3, and I was like, "Are we not going to do it now?" Okay.
I didn't know when you were going to that. I was just saying I just wasn't ready for you to do it, but I'm excited that you did it. I'm excited that
Hey,
you
go
did
ahead, boo. Go ahead.
Yes, y'all. My old ass is having another child. Yes, y'all. Yes.
We will have a link for where you can go buy her gifts. I just want to put that.
Yeah, we can put that out there. We can put that out there. Bless Nekisha. # bless Nekisha.
Let me set up a Patreon right quick. I'm taking all gifts. Those of you who have heard our birth stories episode,
Yeah.
I'm working very hard to provide you another type of birth story.
Yes, she is.
This
And
time.
we're going to pray for that
Yeah.
effort.
A much more positive one. Stay tuned.
Congratulations.
We're so
Thank
excited.
you. Those who know me understand this is a surprise. 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 And so it has taken me some months process and get my mind right and actually start to share publicly. So and it's my first actual public announcement, I think. I'm just now getting to the place where I can articulate.
This is such a great segue. Out of pleasure because clearly, in order to go in for the 4th, there had to be so much pleasure.
Got caught up.
Forgot.
And get caught up.
That folks forgot.
That's what we call Karis. We call Karis the caught up because that's what happened.
I would like to know how many of our listeners have a caught up at home.
Oh, that's what
a caught up baby. # caught up babies.
Yeah. We're excited.
Thank you.
And we say that you're going to have a beautiful and healing birth story. That's what I want to claim.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
One more church announcement. We have a giveaway. Because we don't have no music.
I was over here jamming. All right. We're giving away an organic cotton nap time blanket valued at $65 to a lucky listener on behalf of 54 Kibo. The 54 Kibo in Chimu blankets and swaddles are designed exclusively for 54 Kibo. The collection includes strength, wisdom, love, and success, and they're all inspired by West African Adinkra symbols. The blankets and swaddles were created by Kenyan designer Njoki Getahi and inspired by heirloom cloth that our founder, Nana Kwagrain, used in her twins' Ghanaian naming ceremony and make a unique, meaningful gift for little ones. So 54kibo.com is a new site curating contemporary African design for home, baby, and more. And is female, Black owned and run.
Say that again. Say that again for the people.
Yes, honey.
Black, female owned and run.
All you have to do to be entered in this DBM drawing is to sign up for our email list and 54 Kibo's email list. Sign up for both email lists on both of our websites, which is dimblackmamas.com and 54kibo, KIBO.com.
So I'm really, really excited about this giveaway because it's our first of 2019 and it's super fancy. I think we're kicking the year off right. And we'll have the link for 54 Kibo in our show notes and also in our bio link on social media. And you must sign up by Sunday, April 7th. You must sign up for both email lists to be eligible to win the blanket by Sunday, April 7th. And we'll do the drawing during our Facebook Live on Sunday, April 14th. So go to 54 Kibo and dimblackmamas.com to sign up. Even if you're not having a baby, you could give it away as a gift to someone who is having a baby or to
like
someone
me.
who...
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't. Okay. Quiet.
Make sure that you're following us on social media at Dim Black Mamas across all platforms. And also make sure that you're subscribed wherever you're listening. We're available on all platforms where podcasts are available. So make sure you're not only listening, but you're subscribed. And I want to give a shout out to Danielle Elaine Benjamin, Loud Whisper, and I love this name, Silk the Chakra.
Oh, yes.
I want to give a shout out to them because they shared us in their Instagram stories because they loved our episode so much that they gave us a shout out in their Instagram.
Thank y'all. Holla.
Them a shout out for showing us some love. So that concludes this week's church announcements and prayer list requests. So before we jump into the mac and cheese segment, I just want to reiterate that this is an earbuds episode. So if you have little ones around, you may want to ask them to put in their earbuds, or you may want to put in your earbuds, because we're about to get real and raw. Okay? All right.
I feel like we've been talking about this mac. We've been like nibbling on the mac and cheese.
We have been.
You know how you nibble on the mac and cheese? Like you walk by and you get a forkful and then you come back. I feel like we've been doing that this whole episode.
It's true.
Yeah. We're going to talk about motherhood and pleasure and the importance of centering pleasure. So, I'm going to dive in. Let's be real. Now that we're mothers, do we find that it's more difficult or easier for us to center our pleasure?
Oh, God, more difficult.
Absolutely. Absolutely more difficult.
It's hard for me to center my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
That part.
It's hard
that
for me
part.
to calm my mind enough.
Right. Weekday sex is out.
I agree. Oh.
Listen, I held on as long as I could. But weekday sex is like, all I can think about is like, I got to get up in the morning. I got to get up at this time. I got to get the kids ready. Like, I feel like if you want me to be free and freaky, it's going to have to be on a Friday night or a Saturday night, because on a Sunday, a bitch is thinking about packing lunches in the morning. And I mean, it took me a lot to say, I'm freeing somebody, because you still out there trying to porn star it on a Tuesday and then go to work the next day. Go to work the next day looking like who did it what for. He fine, you not fine, or your partner fine, whoever your partner is. But you at work kind of mad that you gave it up. Good, you know why? Because that was an extra 45 minutes to an hour of sleep, bitch. I know. I feel you, and I'm speaking to someone right now.
Ooh, you're freeing somebody, girl.
I'm freeing somebody because you have been sitting here trying to like twerk it out on a Thursday, right? I feel like you need to talk to your partner and be like, look, when it comes to parenting and sex, you got to strategize different. You may have to schedule some shit that may go from spontaneous to schedule. But that's okay. Don't judge it. We also had to give up dairy. So I just want to put that out there. I know this is not, thank you, Nekisha. Thank you. I was trying, y'all.
Came in hot, sis.
I was trying.
That mac and cheese just burnt my mouth. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Like, it just caught me off guard.
I had to free myself because I would be up mad in the morning. Mad in the morning. All I can think about is that 45 minutes to an hour of sleep I lost. But that's if it's on a weekday. Now, if we talk about the weekend,
what if you have the sex in the morning? Are you open to having?
I'm okay with mornings.
Yeah.
But sometimes the partners, they don't be aligned. I like morning because I feel like I'm fresh.
Yeah.
I'm ready now.
I don't know why we gotta have this conversation at the dead of night. After a work day. I think it matters. Now, hey, my kids are getting older. Eventually they won't need me as much. Let's revisit this conversation. But as of right now, I'm gonna have to take weekdays off the table. I'm gonna be real. It's the sleep. A bitch is tired. A bitch is, and I didn't want to admit it for so long, but a bitch is tired. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so you're not for the nudges at 2, 3 in the morning, the little nudges?
No, listen, I feel like that's so selfish. And let me tell you, it took me a long time to admit that, because I used to think this was like so cute and so sexy and like, but now I feel like this is some selfish shit. Everybody know what time we got to get up in this morning.
I agree. And this is actually a discussion in a mom group that I was in, because there was a mom who was saying she felt like her and her husband were losing their fire. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I recommended and a couple of other moms recommended was midday sex. So
if you don't both work 9 to 5,
you talked about scheduling. If maybe there's like, okay, next Wednesday, we're going to go out to lunch together, or we're going to meet up for lunch or something like that. Because midday is like, you're not super duper tired. Mm-hmm. The kids aren't there.
Good.
Yeah. If we're going to talk about pleasure across the board, I'm trying to figure out where I'm getting the most pleasure in my life right now, because I don't even feel like I'm getting pleasure when it comes to being a mother. Like, I feel like everything that I do for my kids is have to do for my kids. They signed up for sports, so we got to go to the game. We got to go to the practice. I'm cooking. It's homework. And I'm like, what do I actually do with my kids that's just for sheer and utter pleasure that isn't plan that's not a duty. You know, people don't like to talk about the routine and grind of marriage and motherhood or partnership and parenting because it's not sexy, but it's a real part of the relationship. And that grind, I think, has a huge impact on the relationship. And so I can't focus my mind enough to be present and really engage in the way that I would want to engage in sex. It's no longer even about my pleasure. It's about, okay, what does he need? How is he feeling? He likes this or he likes that. Let me do this. It just becomes a lot of thinking.
No, as you were saying that, I was like, it feels like you're taking what you do all day, which is caring for others, taking care of others, and a list of things, taking that to the bedroom. Now you're like, what does he need? What was in this moment? What will satisfy him instead of centering yourself? You know, or the two of you together.
I can't even switch my mind.
Yeah.
What do I do to switch my mind to center myself? Because I don't even know if I'm doing that in any other aspect of my life, which is not even something I'd ever thought I'd say about myself.
Yeah.
Being an independent person. I think you're right though, Nekisha. I never thought about it, but yeah, that's exactly what it becomes. Cause that's the mode I'm used to operating in.
Yeah.
I think that's true for like any type of family that has children. The routine is such an important part of their development. I mean, and it's an important part of ours, but the routine is really structured around their needs.
Yeah.
And so I think what happens is when couples feel like they're losing the fire, they're really not taking into account the full context, right? That maybe our relationship isn't necessarily losing the fire because we're less attracted to each other. It's just a product of sticking to this routine for the kids and for work and all these different things. It's the routine that really kills the libido. So I think it's really important, and some of the work that I do is I remind them of that, because if not, their egos get hurt. Like, oh, the person doesn't desire me. And it's not about you. It's not about a desire for you. It's about, I lack desire right now, period, because desire is attached to the unknown and spontaneity and like mystery. It's not attached to the predictable. You know what I'm saying? And so really some of the things is like trying to figure out ways to create and put spontaneity into our life. Example, we were trying to go out to eat yesterday, and I like to look up a new place and just try a new place, look up the reviews, whatever. But never fails that my husband's like, I don't know about that place. I've never had that. And for me, I'm like, God forbid we eat something other than Thai food, right? I'm flipping out, right? Like, fuck, the little places where you can get some new, right? But it is a really hard thing to negotiate because those needs have to be met or else things begin to erode.
Yeah. I can relate to all of that. So Thea's not giving me a lot of hope because she's got like tweens and teens and is still in that space where there's so much to do around the kids and it's hard to focus on the encounter in the moment. I'm mad about that.
Well, I'll tell you the thing that gets me with the teens. I'm telling you the truth right now. Okay, so your teen is gone. They're like out somewhere or whatever. And so you're like, oh, we have the house to ourselves. And you're in the moment and you start thinking, they could be doing exactly what we're doing right now.
See, I can't.
I'm telling you.
That'll kill it.
It can kill it.
That's horrible.
Yeah. It was pretty terrible. And it's a hard block to get over.
So what can we do? What do we do to focus? For me, I need music. I need, old school, slow jams, loud, to drown out all the thoughts in my head.
For me, music always brings me back. We have a playlist that always brings me back. But sometimes
we have a playlist too. We should put out a DBM.
We should.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that.
We'll Sexy time playlist.
DBM, save the fire.
Save the fire.
Oh,
Save the
she's
fire
on one
playlist.
today.
I'm on one. I'm on fire. I really am.
Save the fire. I love it.
I think there has to be some line of demarcation between the day that just happened and what's happening, like what's about to happen. So it could be like pouring the wine is a symbol that, okay, this day is over. These things are settled. So something symbolically that says to the mind, this part is over. Because that's not sexy. Talking about work and the kids and errands is not sexy.
Right.
So if once the wine is poured,
that's it.
We don't discuss these things.
I love that.
There has to be a safe zone. Now, some people break the rules. I will not point out any names. and when that happens, it's like, but if you can stick to it, it really can make a shift in the thinking.
I'm going to roll with you. I
Okay.
have some questions, but I'm going to roll with you on this.
Mm-hmm,
So you have this line of, and it could be anything. It could be you turn on your favorite TV show that you watch together. It can be anything, right? The line can be anything, right? Okay, got it. My question is, what if there's something that you feel like
when you go into what you feel like,
I don't think that has any room in the sexy time. I don't feel
I'm a whole lot, but I already know.
I roll with you.
You did.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I'm here.
My question is, what if there is something that needs to be discussed? Because if it's not discussed, that's also a barrier to the physical intimacy. So when do you discuss it?
Before the line, and also, is that thing due within the next 2 hours?
What do you mean?
Is it something that can't be discussed after?
But it's a block for you.
I would write it on a piece of paper, fold it up, tuck it under the bed until after the 2 hours. It's still gonna be there. There's not much besides the house is on fire that needs to be discussed within that perfume. Oh my God.
I hear you though. It's taking up too much mind space.
But here's my thing. If that was the case, wouldn't you have talked about it already before that line?
Yes.
We have talked about it, but it's not resolved.
Oh no. See, here we go, people. This is it. Did you see that? Did you switch up? Did you see, people? Did you see? I knew. You just gotta dig a little deeper.
I saw it.
You gotta dig a little deeper. A little deeper. I saw it. Here's what I hear. If we bring up something earlier in the night and I'm not satisfied with how it ended or with the answer that I received, can I bring it up after line of demarcation?
I didn't say can I. I said, when should you talk about it again?
Well, if it's a block that bad, you might as well not pour the wine. Because it ain't going down. It ain't going down. You might as well cork that.
Are you saying the line of demarcation, should that happen on a daily basis?
I don't feel like it could. What are we trying to do here, people? Like,
when I hear you say separate the day, I'm not just talking.
Okay.
Right. Maybe that's general. A time where you can.
Oh yeah, I think that should happen at least Monday through Friday. And I also want to bring up this point. I think even before we get to the lack of pleasure in the partnership, we have to take responsibility for self-care.
Yes.
Because I think that if both people are struggling with self-care, there's also going to be a decrease in pleasure as a couple. And so sometimes we come with an empty cup that we haven't invested in, and then we want the other person to fill the cup. I mean, we use the word self-care, but to me, that's like, what's your favorite tea? What's your favorite song? Have you gone hiking if that's your thing? Have you just basically taken care of yourself? And if you have, and you're still feeling depleted, then you can bring that to your partner's attention. But I feel like we do have a responsibility to seek self-happiness first. Yeah. Because that could be quite a burden to bring to someone else without any work on our part.
Yeah, I think that's where I am in terms of pleasure. Like, I haven't done any self-pleasure. I think that it really started after I became a mother, is that I started buying less things for myself because I started pouring more of that into the kids. I used to put on lotion like every
No, you did with the big lotion.
Day. Yeah. Like every day I put on lotion. And now if I don't have time, I'm putting lotion on my hands and feet, and then I'm out.
Girl, wait, let me listen. I saw my sister a couple weeks ago. I think she's such a wonderful mom. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she said, "Bitch, you cursed me." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I hear your voice in my head." She said, "I remember this one day, your nails weren't done, your eyebrows weren't done. And I was like, why your nails ain't done? Why your eyebrows ain't done?" And you were like, "Well, I'm just going to be natural for right now." Just try to cover it up, bitch. You just try to cover it up. You don't want folks to know you spent the last of your money on the kids and whatever. So she was like, "Girl, you ain't got to do that." And then she looked at me and she said, "Look at these nails, bitch. Have you ever seen me look like this?" If y'all know my sister was always beat to the god. Lashes. She do her own lashes. She do her own makeup.
Yeah.
She was like, "Bitch, I'm lucky if I get an eyebrow." We don't talk about
sacrifice.
The sacrifice and the way we have to redefine beauty.
Yeah.
In motherhood, the way we have to find it sometimes without the extra perks and boosts that help us to see it. So finding that line between still being able to see your beauty even in these times of sacrifice or whatever, but also not sacrificing to the point where you're like no longer prioritizing your pleasure.
I think with Black women in particular, sacrifice is seen as noble. You're a better mother if you sacrifice. That's the norm. That's like how you're supposed to be. And Black women are taught to sacrifice like across the board, even if you don't have kids. And if you do have kids, it's even more. I mean, it's a story of everything. I want to thank my mom. She sacrificed so much. Or I'll sacrifice this, you know, for my children. And so those feelings of not feeling desirable, feeling frumpy, I felt like it was justified because I was a mother. Because that's the narrative.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the narrative.
This is what it is. This is what it looks like.
This is what it is.
Well, I think we have a lot of self-talk that's involved in that, but the labels are really a huge part of it. Like you said, Crystal, we see ourselves in Black mothering as sacrificial, as giving so much of ourselves to mother not only our own children, but the community. So it's difficult to kind of bring that back down to me and how do I feel about me in the moment? And I can see places along the way where a mother would say, well, you know, I can't get my 3-inch nails anymore because I can't handle the baby with that. So I'm just not get them at all. So we start to just kind of one by one cross off that made us who we
it's
were.
gradual.
It's gradual. And we look up, we're like, oh, snap. You know, look at my hands, bitch.
Yes.
You know, like, what?
Yes. Look at these eyebrows. Yeah.
All of us holding up our nails right now looking raggedy.
Nobody's nails is done up in here.
Eyebrows ain't been done in a minute. Yeah.
God forbid you saw a mother as sexual.
Yeah.
The mother image is not one of a sexual being. And if someone who is a mother is sexy or sexual, it's a thing. Well, should she be doing that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we never say that with fathers.
It's
uncomfortable. But we never, ever say that with fathers.
Girl,
you know
no. A zaddy is supposed to be sexy, honey.
And even when I see birth pictures, even if it's nude, it's no like...
The pleasure centered around the child. That's
right.
Like all the pleasure is centered around the child. It's not centered on the
and from birth on.
Birth changes so much about you, including your body. And I'm not just talking about weight gain. I'm talking about like how you feel in your body. Not to mention that a woman body changes every 7 years. Shifts every 7 years. And so holding the mother, holding how to be in this grown-up woman body, and then feel sexual in a space where you're not supposed to be openly sexual. I mean, I hear my brothers, my cousins rap songs all the time, a lady in the street and a freak in the sheets. It's like you can't be openly sexual.
All these things.
Which brings me to the reason why I switched the context of the episode. Originally, it was going to be like, you know, Black moms and sex, but when I started doing the research for this topic, I don't know why I did this, but I Googled Black moms and sex. And
I could have told you not to do that, sis. I could have warned you.
And you know how I feel. You know what she found. And you know, I don't like black porn.
Oh. I thought I was the only one. Now I can come out the closet and admit that. I do not.
Film quality is important to me. And I know it's tough in porn. I know the film quality is often subpar. But it was just like, not even like iPhone shit. It was like, I don't know.
Black mothers deserve better.
I think one of our listeners has it in there to create.
They got to get Barry Jenkins to direct that shit because he know how to get the colors right.
I feel like there's a listener who's like, I don't know where my creative energy should be going, and this should be into creating better black porn.
This is better black porn.
I mean, somebody please, you know, I just wish that it was a little better quality. But, you know, so I had to like tweak it a little bit. And even the articles that came up when I typed in motherhood and sex, there was nothing specific to our culture. But when I typed in Black women and pleasure, I found some really, really interesting things. And the reason I want to call it pleasure is because I think that there's so many articles written about sex tips and sex tricks and all that, and we can get into that, but you can know all of that stuff, but I feel like if you don't really have a core understanding of pleasure.
And what you said just hit me because I think that's a lot of where I'm at right now is like how I want to engage and what brings me pleasure is shifting. And it has a lot to do with my body shifting and like how I see my body differently than I saw my body 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I definitely saw my body as a product of my children. It was theirs. It was more theirs. It was more functional. Now I see it as this spiritual temple. And I also see it as this vehicle to create all this work and this content. And so the way I want to honor it sexually is very different, but I'm also getting used to it physically looking different. And so it's like I can't even communicate what I would want in that regard because I'm adapting and getting used to and getting to know this new sexual body. Our sexual urges and desires and all that, it changes over time. It's not static at all. Just like our spirituality deepens, so does our sexuality. But we don't have conversations about this, and we really put very unrealistic expectations on ourselves.
Yeah, I encounter a lot of us women having difficulty separating their sensual selves from their mothering selves, from the parenting side, specifically as it pertains to breasts. And so there's a lot of muddying of, are they sexual or are they feeding my child? And I don't like the overlap. It feels really strange to me during sex if I start leaking. My husband is weirded out by me leaking milk during sex. And those are things that, I try to help families through and help them see their breasts are both, honey. They make milk and they produce pleasure.
They're amazing. They're
are
amazing like that.
But it's difficult for us to do that because the ethno theories go back generations and generations of, your breasts are just sexual. Right? So to try and have a parent move over to this place where they can see them as functional and still sexual, recognizing the breast as both, the whole body as both, is a beautiful thing. You get into this new, like you said, deeper awareness, and then you can really acknowledge what helps you, what makes you feel good, what brings you joy and pleasure.
You know what I tell people it's like? I did this Pleasure 101 workshop with students, and it's easier for them to conceptualize sometimes is food, because food is a very pleasurable thing. So your food likes and dislikes have changed over time, same like your sexual ones will. If you can do a list of your food yucks and yums, like the things you like and the things you don't like, because it's just as important to know what you don't like, which we don't think about in terms of pleasure, but it's important to know what you don't like, because pleasure is really about feeling like you have the right to ask for what you want. So if you can make a list of your yucks and yums for food, thinking of it the same way, you can do a list of your yucks and yums for pleasure. Sometimes I take self-exploration. Do I like soft things? Do I like hard things? Do I like pointy things? Do I like hot things? Do I like cold? Sometimes it takes self-experimentation to figure out what these things are. But once you know, you're like, oh, I didn't like that. Put that in the yuck column. Put that in the yum column if you like it. And then this is how you can communicate also and see where the yucks and yums kind of line up.
I love that.
I think thinking about it as the way we think about food, it makes sense to a lot of people and the way that's more comfortable. But the goal is to be comfortable talking about sexuality the same way you talk about food.
You're right. And so you can have a deep love for certain food. It brings you a lot of emotion, a lot of joy, and really experience food in a really pleasurable way. But also recognize that it's functional.
Yes, it does. Wow. It does do a thing. It does feed you a certain kind of way.
I love
that. So
yeah,
that's one of the activities I really enjoy doing with people.
Yeah, my mom was I don't even know if it's intentional, but she's just like a sexy person. She was the kind of mom was like, well, if you like it, show it off. You like your legs, you have beautiful legs. Wear something short. Like she never
shamed that.
Yeah, she never shamed that. And so now that I'm in this space where I don't feel that, I'm just like, where did that come from? Because it's not the image of motherhood that I had directly at all. Like I knew that men were attracted to my mom. I knew that my mom was a sexual being.
Do you feel like, but see, that makes me wonder, do our kids think of us that way? Well, your kids are younger, but my kids are older, and I've been you have some older kids too in the home, Crystal. And I wonder if they view us that way. Of course, naturally, if they do, they're like, ew, they're like.
RJ has walked in on us having sex.
My God. Now, see, that has not happened to me yet. And has it happened to you, Nekisha?
It's only a matter of time. It's only
my God. What happened when RJ came in?
They walked in, him and Karis is right behind them. And he saw, and he was like, Karis, we have to get out. They're having sex. And he turned around and he walked out.
What did you do?
I was mortified.
Okay, let's be real with it. Did they get you under the cover, outside the cover? Like, was it like...
Never have cover on.
You know what? So y'all out here just being reckless. That's what the problem is.
Like you ain't got kids in the house.
Right.
Like you ain't got kids
Doors unlocked, covers off.
Right.
Got lights on too. What else?
I know. You're right, Nekisha. That was just awesome.
Okay. So it was weekend morning, really, really early, and thought that they were still sleeping. So I was mortified. But then I had to process because he knew. But not only did he know what was going on, but he had a feeling that he shouldn't be present.
It had language around it. I think this is quite impressive.
Do you remember what positioning?
Was there a booty in the air?
Exactly, Nekisha. I walked in on family members, not my parents. I walked in on family members once. No, I now know that to be doggy style. I now know.
But back then you weren't sure what that was?
I mean, they had the bonnet on and everything. It was early morning. But which is, that's appropriate doggy style. You keep the bonnet on. So like I
never have sex with a bonnet on.
I can't either if shit comes off. But I'm just saying, you rock your hair natural, but for those with the fresh press or fresh weave, I feel you. You might have to get you wrapped up. My point is, it was dog style. So I'm wondering when we're assessing RJ's trauma, we need to know what.
I don't feel comfortable sharing that.
Is that right? But yeah, wait. What time is it?
This
9:40. Exactly. I was about to say. We have to mark this time because Crystal has finally felt shamed. It took me years of friendship to get.
That just means she was a cowgirl or something. She was.
So that means there might have been apparatus involved.
Oh,
there might have been some apparatus.
I'm just saying
the trauma might be deep.
It might be deep. Like I didn't know my dad had 2 penises.
I'm not a toy person. I'm not a toy person.
Are you an apparatus person?
I've used an apparatus once and never again. Bad experience.
Never again. Bad experience.
I was traumatized. So I do think that my kids know that we have sex. I don't know if they think of that as a function or part of marriage.
Right.
Or if they see that as, okay, that means that we're sexual beings. I definitely don't make sex a bad thing in our house. I wonder, like, because my mom was such a sexy person, like where my hang up is. You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I feeling the way that I feel now as a mother and about my sexuality?
Do you remember if she was that way throughout marriage and then also after marriage?
That way.
Always.
My dad promoted that. Not promoted that, but he supported that. Like he wanted a tight chick on his arm. So, but I just wonder like where that came from with me, but it's hard to center it now though.
Yeah. But this is exactly why I went into sex therapy. 100,000% is because there is no conversation about Black women being entitled to pleasure, that it's a right, that it's a way of reclaiming our bodies from the commodification of colonization. It's why I have the erotophobia in session.
Was really good.
Did you like it? I'm so glad you liked it.
Touched on some things.
It touched on some things, boo. Did it get you, boo?
Got me, boo.
I gotta catch up. I probably need it.
Maybe you should wait, boo. Maybe you should. I don't know. You got a lot going on, Keish. You got a lot going on.
Why your eyes look like that? I wish y'all could see your eyes.
Boo.
The work is real.
First of all, you give out a lot of information, sis. I'm not knocking it.
But
I just felt like you should have broke that up. It was just like... I had to watch it twice. It was good though. It was good. That you know what I always say about your work, about Toni Morrison's work.
To bring what you
got to bring something of yourself. You just can't show up.
No.
Because if you just show up, you're like, oh, I got to back on up out of this piece.
The work is real.
But it was, I wasn't expecting that. I felt like this her first video. It's just gonna be like some surface shit, just give people, in the flow.
People acclimated
stuff. Give people acclimated. Give people no.
Straight in. All the way in. Okay.
All the way in. I didn't even leave no comments. Like I said,
you didn't leave no comments, so I didn't know. And now that you say that, I'm thinking like one person left a comment, and I'm like, that means other people read it and didn't leave a comment. I mean, watched it and didn't leave comments.
They're probably still processing.
It's so funny. I feel like, I hope they don't feel like I didn't give them enough. I was really
the only thing
sounds like you gave them plenty.
Yes. The only thing I didn't have enough of was somebody to talk to afterwards. Like that's what I need.
It should end with a turn to your neighbor.
With a turn to your neighbor.
So what is this and where is it posted?
It's on my Patreon page. So people can join my Patreon page. There's different ways to level it. And basically what it does is allow people access to exclusive content. The work can range on anything from creativity to decolonization to sex, joy, and pleasure, relationships. So I do these in sessions that are exclusive for my Patreon people.
Gotcha.
And so they get that every month plus updates on all the other things we're doing. Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? One of my favorite movies, Drop Squad. That's what it is. Your Patreon is like Drop Squad. Okay. Nekisha, have you ever seen Drop Squad?
She sent me this. I never saw it.
I thought I had.
This is one of Spike Lee's hidden gems. Eric LaSalle is in it. There's so many good people in it.
What?
Ving Rhames is in it.
Ving Rhames.
What? Why does this make you think of Thea's?
Let me tell you why. So in Drop Squad, what happens is there's this covert group of people who, when a Black person has forgotten their roots, let's just say,
okay,
quote unquote, sold out the community, then you can call the Drop Squad to come and pick them up and
get them right.
Kidnap them for like a couple of weeks, and they
recondition
recondition them. So you're like in this place for like 6 weeks. They like recondition your mind. That's what Thea's Patreon was like.
Yeah,
it's about access to your inheritance on all levels: spiritual, physical, sexual, everything. You deserve access to your fullest self. And if you happen to be Black, that shit runs really deep.
Part of it was like a little bit of anger because it's like I have so much work to do, and I have this work to do because of white supremacy. You know, you have to get over that because that ain't changing no time soon. And then you have to get over the pain of, I wish I would have known this sooner. I could have done so much more had I known it sooner. And then
I didn't even consider that part.
You can get to what you're actually putting in front of us, which is really some deep work.
I feel like half our audience has paused this show and gone to Patreon to listen to that episode.
Okay, we're going to refocus.
Okay, so let's talk about why we don't like Black porn. For me, I didn't used to like Black porn just on some white supremacy stuff. I wanted tight bodies. I wanted in shape people. I wanted the higher quality of film. I wanted good weave. Like I couldn't take all I needed to see that. I wanted to look at something that was aspirational. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who could be me or somebody who I want to be me. Once I became a mother and my body started to change, I was like,
a little less sedated.
I was a little less sedated. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I can appreciate that this is being filmed because, you know, this is a normal.
This is real. This is real.
This is a normal body.
For me, it's very simple. Why I don't like Black porn. The niggas always wearing socks. I think I have shared this before.
I think you have.
Always wearing socks.
That is not
and
sex.
I don't
I'll be honest.
understand. I just don't understand. Even male strippers or say Black male strippers say, like, oh, what is it with niggas and feet? Like, you know, ever since Roots. So I feel like really for Thea, it's very simple. Niggas won't take off days.
So you only watch porn with white people?
Yep. Totally fine. And I mean, it's like, do what you want to them. Like, you know, y'all have fun. Like, whatever. There's no thing in my head about that. I just don't know what the thing is about the socks. I know slavery has something to do with it. But I just can't figure it out.
So let me just, for a moment.
It's distracting.
Say, I know the Saints are upset with us today. I'll just say that.
Maybe not.
The Saints been told that they're going to hell for watching porn and they're scared of it.
It's
okay.
True.
So they're watching in secret and all that.
That's how a lot of kids find out or learn about it. Honestly,
they find it. Yeah.
They find their parents' porn. So the idea that people ain't watching it. I mean, you know.
So I don't watch it for the poor film quality, and I like a good story.
I like the whole storyline.
I like a good story.
Nobody says I like a good story and then refers to porn.
I do.
Nobody.
I like a good subplot. So I find myself critiquing the story. I'm like, really, you driving down the street in your hoopty and you just gonna pull this girl. You look a mess. Stop. You go into this beat up house. You know, like the whole thing. I'm just mad about it. I'm mad about the quality of it. Then she got like pimples on her booty. And so I'm like, that's just too much. It's too much. Why can't she have good, clear skin like Becky over there in her video? I don't understand. They need to put concealer on their booties because it's very distracting to me. That's all I know.
You know what? Somebody just got $1 million idea.
Booty concealer.
Ass concealer.
There you go.
That's me. Kidding me?
You can have that. It's free. Take it.
Yeah, take it. Intellectual property.
Hold on. I have to clarify this. So you are really a romantic. You want a build up and a storyline.
There are some that are like 2 hours long, and I will watch. I want to see the whole saga unfold. Yeah, the ones that are really high quality, they're like movies, like drama, and there people are really acting in it. You know, okay.
I'm a cut to the scenes kind of girl.
Yeah, sometimes.
I just need the scene. I need everybody's clothes are already off and we in position.
Oh yeah, I skip. We know why we're here. We know why we're here.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to see the kissing. I'm like,
Just stick it in, huh? Just stick it in. Wow.
I want the point of action.
I'm still stuck on you saying you like the stories.
I like a good story. I like to be seduced into.
I'm also stuck on how you get through a 2-hour porn movie. Like
I'm more of a 7-minute.
Those are like they're like ones that are old. They're ones that were like Skinamax back in the day. You know what I mean?
You like soft porn.
Wow, that's so sweet.
You know what? I can't stand you.
No, it is. I think that says that you are a romantic.
Yes. Yeah. I like a good story. I do. I like to be well done, well shot, and all that.
I could never watch porn and then have sex.
Oh, really?
Oh.
It's not the precursor?
It's like about sheerly my pleasure. I could never like watch and then have sex with someone else.
And you never watch during?
That never even dawned on me. That never even dawned on me.
What?
That never even dawned on me.
Girl, you've been missing out. Wow.
No. Okay, well,
I think I would be distracted.
Computer says no. You can write that down. Write that down. I mean, just, we got ideas coming from everywhere today.
Yeah.
Make it rain.
That never even dawned on me. What part does porn play in your pleasure?
It's really not a huge part. I think it's more of an arousal tool for getting rid of those thoughts. Yeah. Like we were talking about earlier, like getting past the thoughts. It's like the wine. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a huge part. It just really helps to shift the mindset.
Maybe some of our listeners will be brave enough to answer and hit us up and let us know. I wonder if they find porn pleasurable and watch it frequently or even occasionally, where do they fit that into their lives? Like, how does that work? When you find time? Certainly, no, everybody's not watching long movies. Is it a part of the sexual experience with your partner or just before? Or are you pulling up a website whenever you get a down moment?
And I also wonder the real impact that has on a relationship. Or does it distort your idea of what pleasure is and what it should be?
I think it can. And like everything, it has to be used in moderation and intentionally. Because if not, it can definitely lead you to a path of like, how did we get here? So I do think moderation.
Trying new things?
Not just trying new things, but the expectation of the response to the thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this person in the video liked this, so I'm supposed to like it, without really being able to fully assess it. Like, this is, or should I be able to do that? And also, most of the bodies are like, they've added stuff, taken stuff away. Like, there's a lot of,
the black porn, not the black.
No, not with that, not with the black part. But they've done things to it, the camera angles. Like, there's a lot of stuff that makes it look a lot different than it actually. So it can give like a distorted reality of what to expect. So everything has to be done, with some intention and some degree of balance, but it's definitely a tool. It's like the wine.
I guess I never saw it as a place where you can learn. I've always seen it as a place where you just go to get pleasure. I never saw it as a place where I can learn something, which says like, well, then where do we go to learn?
Exactly. Not there. I would say unequivocally not there. Unequivocally. But that would not be my recommendation. It's just too deep a pool. One of the best places to learn is go to a sex shop. The best place to learn. You go, people are super informative and educated on these things. You try things out. They're super non-judgmental. You just kind of look around and do the yuck and yum thing, right? Like what looks like you might be interested in, what's like, oof, not that. And even if you say, oof, not that, that might be the thing you want to pick up and try. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. But I think like the actual in-person exploration by yourself or with a partner can be more educational if we're talking about educating ourselves than porn.
Well, I'm also thinking about the deeper things like tantric sex. Like I hear that term a lot, but when people talk about it, I hear people talking around it. And I feel like the deeper stuff is more the stuff that centers the pleasure versus the stuff that's
that's another thing. The difference between stimulation and pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's where my question is.
Because we can be physically stimulated, but not be experiencing full pleasure.
So then what exactly is tantric?
So I'm getting ready to take a webinar on that. So I don't want to give a false definition of that. But I do feel like, when we think about the practice of like kundalini energy, tantric energy, we're really talking about the energetic body of sex. That doesn't even require touch to be accessed.
Wow.
Or aroused. It's a really, really a connection-based energetic practice. It's very powerful. With that, I think you got to know what you're playing with because you can really unlock a lot of things.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
When you said you don't even have to be touched, I just got turned on.
I know. Isn't that amazing? Like, yeah, there's a lot of breath.
Yeah. I think that those are the things that we don't talk about. I mean, I know, when I talk to my kids about sex, when I talk to my partner about sex, it's all about, like I said, tips and tricks, or it's about education, but it's not necessarily about pleasure. I mean, maybe more so with my daughter, because I want her to, I talk to her about masturbation and making sure you know what you like. But again, that's stimulation.
It could be pleasure too. So they could be on the same page because the pleasure is more energetic and psychological. So if your mind and your body are in the same place, you're likely going to experience pleasure. Your mind, your emotional self, and your body. That's where we get the pleasure piece. For instance, we did like a few kundalini yoga exercises one time in a class, and just breath work and like knowing how to clench, you could self-orgasm.
That's amazing.
And there was no other person. You weren't like touching yourself. You were just repeating this breath work and this clenching. And to me, that was like a whole nother level of understanding what pleasure really means. And that's the thing, when I say people educate themselves through porn, they're more so learning about stimulation than pleasure.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 questions. Can you spell kundalini, and where is this yoga class?
There's different kundalini yoga classes, but let me make sure I'm spelling it right. Kundalini. So kundalini energy is a spiritual energy that lies in the root chakra, the base of the spine, where the base of the genitals is. So there's so much involved in this. Shakti is the feminine energy, raw feminine energy. And if you literally just tap it, just a tap of that feminine energy can like free the whole body. Just a tap. Like that's not even a full awakening. A full awakening, you can't just do that. You got to be trained. You got to spend years preparing yourself for something like that. When we think about an orgasm, that's the slightest tap. Really, it's about the energy that produces in the world, like the creative boom that produces. When we talk about power of manifestation, we're talking about Shakti energy, Kundalini energy, sexual energy. And pleasure awakens that energy in us, which is why going back to Black women and pleasure and the work that I do with Black women and pleasure is tied into creativity, because how else are we going to change the world if we can't tap into...
Oh, okay. So I just had like a major breakthrough. So I never thought of having an orgasm as creation.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been about something that happens as a result of stimulation. So I never thought about it as a process of creating.
Mm-hmm. And creating and releasing, which is manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book called The Tao of Sexology. That book really talks about how you can reverse aging, tapping into that sexual energy.
What?
Like, I mean, it's just really, it gets really deep. I want to go that deep with it, but a lot of people don't want to go that deep with it because they are tied to the physical stimulation aspect, but you will receive something that's that and then some if you can go deeper with these things.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Bet y'all didn't know y'all would get all that on DBM.
I know. We didn't even know.
Yeah, I don't even know if people, when I think about like no sex on the weekdays or work and kids and all that stuff, I think people want to have something deeper, but I don't know if people feel like they have the time or energy to.
And I think also at this time, it's about trying to shift from stimulation to pleasure as well. Because if that was about pleasure, we wouldn't be tired. We'd be energized. But because it's about stimulation, it's more of a drain. You see what I'm saying? So in the process of shifting, for me personally, in this body from stimulation to pleasure, it's me also learning that like I have to shift my sex life from stimulation to pleasure. And then the weekdays may be back on the table because that may actually help me to get the energy I need to go into the next day because I've been invested into versus things coming out of me.
So if you shift from stimulation to pleasure in your body and then in your sex life, then you may be able to shift from stimulation to pleasure in your
Right.
life in general, you know,
Right.
like in your mothering, like
Right.
instead of trying to figure out how to inspire myself or how to get myself motivated, it can be more of a question of how do I find pleasure in something,
Yes.
or how do I make my life, my schedule in a way that centers more pleasure than duty.
And how you know is like stimulation energy goes out and pleasure energy comes in. So when you think about when you've really felt a pleasurable orgasm versus just a stimulated one, right? There's like this after of like, oh, like something just
Yeah.
came inward. You know what
Do
I
you
mean?
think men have more of one than women?
I think they're socialized to think they do, but they really don't. I really think they have the same power and potential as women in that area, but I think they're socialized to think that they're only capable of stimulation, unfortunately. And I think women think they're only good for stimulation. I think many of
No.
us have been socialized into that,
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
thinking of we don't talk about this distinction between stimulation and pleasure. And maybe I should do a in session on this actually now that we're talking about it. I think that's an important thing to know about ourselves as we move forward in this journey to like reclaim pleasure and joy. But yeah, I think most of us are sexualized to confuse the two.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about like after motherhood, I think that it was all been about stimulation.
And when we talk
Because
about it, we say get off. You know what I mean? We say
yeah,
words that are really
yeah.
about stimulation as opposed to
We say words that are about just not necessarily an exchange, but a release.
mm-hmm.
We're
And
not receiving anything either. Not
or
receiving.
Yeah.
creating a circle of giving and receiving, because that's where pleasure really comes in the balance of giving and receiving, right?
Yeah.
So we're not creating that circle when we do stimulation. It's just kind of like everybody's giving to stimulate the other one, and there's no receiving happening.
So then that would say like, so after you have an orgasm, you should be not drained,
Right. Like you should feel full.
or invigorated.
Yeah. Inspired.
Yeah, that's so
It's a
different from,
creative process, right?
yeah, but that's so different from the images that we get. It's supposed to be like
everybody's just
after you have, where
laid
everybody is
out.
just drained and laid out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's very different from the images that we get of it. Okay, so I wanted to end by each one of us
Uh-oh.
doing a challenge of pleasure, and then we'll check back in to see how we're doing.
Oh my.
Okay, so I'll give you an example. So my challenge is going to be, and I've never done this, and I said that I've always wanted to do this, that I want to take nude photographs.
You did. You have said that.
Never done it because I don't like my body.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a challenge for me to take my clothes off in front of someone other than my partner and have someone immortalize me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you should absolutely do
And
it.
so that's going to be a challenge.
Have you done that, Nekisha?
I have.
I knew it. I could tell by how you said that. I could tell by how you said that. I was like, "Oh, this bitch did this."
Any of our listeners are in Denver, I can hook you up with the great boudoir photographer who did it for one of our mom's groups retreats up there. And she was amazing and made me look, I thought, so beautiful, so sexy. And it's something I will cherish always. So yeah.
Oh, that's so
great.
great.
Crystal.
Yeah, do it, Crystal.
Thea, you got an idea? What's your challenge?
I think I'm going to stick with the nude yoga. I really enjoyed it.
Really?
And I think I might do it once a week for myself, like once everybody leaves the house. I really found that to be quite liberating. I think I'm going to, try to do it once a week just to like remind myself what this all is, that I chose this temple.
I like the idea of using the camera to capture yourself in different modes.
Oh my goodness.
Yourself.
Yeah.
So while I've
I really wanted to show you. I really was going to send y'all pictures. I'm still thinking about it. I know. At least one, but I didn't want to be judged. And I
won't judge you, girl. I won't. I mean, other than saying your skinny ass, but I think I probably can get into setting up my camera and capturing myself on film, which I think is completely different from having someone else do it. It's an experience with, as you described, Thea, really coming into seeing myself in various states and appreciating where I am now, which it will be, quickly changing over the next several months. So it'll be interesting to capture me in all of these phases, and then also once baby comes.
Yeah, that'll be so good. So hopefully our listeners will take on a challenge of their own.
Yes.
We covered a lot, but I'm inspired. I'm not tired.
Good.
It was
I
more
hope the
pleasure than
listeners are as
stimulation.
well.
I wanted it to be more pleasure than stimulation because I feel like a lot of people talk about stimulation, tips and tricks. Every article you read in a magazine is about that. But I wanted to get to the core of, okay, we know all the tips, we know all the tricks. Why are we still not feeling full and pleased?
Shout out to our resident sex therapists in training who
Woohoo! I'm out
keeps
here
enlightening us.
utilizing my skill set. The more I'm going deeper into this understanding, the more I'm learning about myself in ways that have nothing to do with what I thought sex was. Sex is really very broad. We talk about pleasure and desire and creativity. And so it's deepening me in like ways that I didn't imagine. So I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah. And I mean, we can have a whole episode about you decompressing from that because I'm sure we could all benefit from it. Again, my takeaway from here is that we talk about sex in a stimulation way, not in a pleasure way. That's really my takeaway from here. And so I think to have a whole episode where you decompress, I think could really transform the way that we think about sex, and therefore transform the way that we teach our children about sex. Because now I'm about to have a whole conversation with my 21-year-old about pleasure. Because I've talked to her a lot about sex. I haven't talked to her a lot about pleasure. And it's going to really influence the way that I teach my boys. Because, their sex talk is all about controlling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think if I came from a perspective of pleasure, it won't be about a conversation of controlling how you feel. You'll be rooted in something different. You won't be rooted in always trying to get stimulated. You'll be rooted in seeking pleasure.
They'll be rooted in pleasure too. Yeah.
I agree.
Well, as soon as I told people that I was going to sex therapy, it was like good.
I'm telling you.
I get a lot of
need it.
I get a lot of like low key pokes, like, "Hey, could I ask you a quick question?"
For
like,
real,
I get a lot of that.
Girl,
I get a lot of that.
After you get this certification, you're gonna be able to open
it's
up.
It's on like popcorn.
And black couples who hit a wall, like you've been together for a certain amount of time, and you done all the tips and tricks and everything you can think of, and you're still not connecting in that area. So I think we don't have enough, and we definitely don't have enough coming from a place of pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to transition into our collection plate cause, which I'm really, really excited about because it's a very, very unique collection plate cause. So collection plate causes are causes, organizations, initiatives, art projects we feel deserve to be amplified and are worthy of our time, attention, and yes, sometimes money. If you can't donate, we ask that you pass the collection plate by sharing information about it on social media using the hashtag collection plate cause. So today's collection plate cause is Hillman the Game.
Yes.
Hillman the Game is the brainchild of Tanisha Hall. The poet, small business owner, mother of three, and a lover of board games was inspired to create Hillman the Game because all the games she loved had no Black people, and because A Different World helped her fulfill her dream of going to college. She says for her, it represented the escape from parents at the cusp of being an adult. She says, I was a kid and seeing this made me say, you mean I could be away from my parents with other Black kids and learn? It was also my first introduction to HBCUs. And she said that there's a whole community of Black board gamers.
Oh, wow.
Who knew? Who knew? And that's who helped her, like with copyright issues and the layout of the game and all of that. Like there's a whole of Black people who make board games, and they really helped her and supported her along the way to do it. And
so cool.
It's really cool. It's like, why not do an app? And she was like, because I want people to have face-to-face time. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So you can follow Hillman the Game on Instagram at Hillman the Game. We'll have the link in our show notes, and we'll also have that link in our social media bios. And you can also find the link to donate on their Instagram page. And donations are to cover production costs. So go follow them on Instagram where you can find the link to donate and just support them and spread the word because it's just a super cool and innovative idea. So I'm really excited for her. It's so creative and just innovative, And so I really, really, really wanted to support her. Also, if you have a collection plate cause in mind that you feel needs to be amplified, send us the information. We're specifically looking at things that focus on Black women and dismantling systemic and institutional oppression.
Yes, indeedy. All right, so now it's time for Black Mama Say. You know, it's our final segment of every show where we put our own twist on sayings from Black mamas. This episode's Black Mama Say is point blank, period.
Tag me in, Nekisha. Tag me in.
Thea.
Tag me in.
Point blank, period. Sis, go.
Whatever she says, tag me in.
Tag me in.
It's about to be hot.
Tag me in. I'm just like, okay. Oh God. Okay.
I'm gonna go with this one, even though I had two in my head, but I'm gonna go with this one.
Okay.
Black people.
Okay.
When somebody Black is associated publicly with something somewhat questionable, not including. Wait a minute. Not including. First out, let me fit. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about we need to get on the same page as Black people. Crystal.
I can't.
I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about that Black people is on one accord. Now that social media has entered the Black community, we need to create some community guidelines around communication strategies, right? So here's my thing. With the exception of actual abuse, CC R. Kelly, right? If a Black person has done something questionable, right? What we don't do is discuss it openly and begin to create memes around it, point blank, period. Because the rule of Grandma's kitchen table applies to social media, meaning when we in mixed company, we do not go out there and begin saying shit. Do y'all understand? I need y'all to do this because this has been the most disappointing thing about this to me is that y'all ran out there and started creating memes like hotcakes. And I need you to understand that the same rules apply. The game has changed, but the rules have not. We do not go out in these streets, cyber or otherwise, and speak out about Black folks, with the exception of CC R. Kelly and such, et al., right? Anybody in the predator category, right, does not get a pass. But what we do not do, Black folks, is have that conversation in mixed company. Do you understand me? Do you understand? Point blank, period. That's the end of that. I don't want to see this shit again. I don't want to see it.
Because we're wilding. We got memes, gifts.
I disagree. I think if this is true, and again, this is
but we don't know, and that's what we don't know. You can't create the memes until you know.
Is that what you're saying? So we still have to wait for more evidence. Is that what you're saying?
With Black people, we wait for all the evidence. We wait for the fucking videotape, Crystal. You know how this is. We don't go in them streets and give white folks a reason to cut up.
Well, that's my thing. This is why I feel like the memes, and I'm not talking about anyone's situation specifically, but I'm saying if you do something questionable that gives white people a reason to cut up, then I feel like you deserve all the memes.
But I feel like
Kanye got memes.
We need to know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. We have evidence with Kanye.
Right.
We have him in a MAGA hat in the fucking Oval Office on video.
Right. I feel you. You right.
Okay.
You right.
So we wait until there is absolutely no shadow of a doubt. Then meme away. But y'all jumped out the blocks a little early on this. Considering where this is all happening and the history of the folks bringing them in. Even just on the street to Laquan McDonald. You know what I'm saying? First, you don't say shit. You definitely don't create no memes until it's like super duper obvious. Okay. Then we start to do what white people do. We talk about mental health.
That's it. Let's get the brothers some help.
It's right. It's right. That's how they do it.
We don't make
every
gifs,
time they go shoot up some shit. Every time they go shoot up some shit, we have a conversation about mental health. Every time they shoot up some shit. Right?
He's having a crisis.
So my point is,
a crisis.
There's something going on. We need to help this brother and wrap around him. That is the second. That is the second layer.
That's all I'm
After
saying.
The first layer. That's all we saying. But what we will not do is participate.
Oh God!
In the destruction of it. Like we won't do it.
That's it.
I mean, is that the worst thing somebody could do? No, we didn't see a lot of worse shit. Folks run up in churches and getting burgers on the ride to jail. That's it. I mean, there's worse shit.
All
Don't
right. So,
say
so that's what you're saying, point blank in the period?
point blank, period. Behind the scenes, we can talk about this all we want. But mixed company, shut your mouth. And then if all else fails, mental health.
That's it.
That's
I
it.
feel like that's appropriate.
That's
Crystal?
appropriate.
Okay, so this is something that really has been stirring in my soul. It's really been sitting on my heart. I really wanted someone else to talk about it. I thought someone else would confront this before I had to say something, but it's been over a year and people still are not talking about it.
Over a year.
Yeah, I really hate to do this because I have a lot of love for this brother. I really, really do. But I feel like something needs to be said. The Microsoft Common commercial needs to be removed from TV. Point blank, period. I know we love Common. I know. I do too. I feel you.
I feel like
But-
this is one of those mixed company conversations.
You know, we have to talk about it because it's gone too far. They're showing it during huge sporting events. We can't do this. We cannot do this.
What is the issue, Crystal?
The issue is I don't know if he's doing spoken word or interpretive dance. And whichever one he's doing them terribly. I know the brother is getting paid a lot of money. I know, and I don't want to block nobody check, but it's been a year. We have to talk about it, though.
I would not
We have to talk about it.
Did you have to say interpretive dance?
We have to talk about it. With all due respect to that brother.
I just did not see this coming at all.
The commercial is terrible.
And you know why this is hitting the chord? It's
period.
hitting the chord because, I've seen the commercial.
Nobody wanted to talk about it. And let me tell you, and I wasn't going to talk about it. And I was up late one night and it came on twice. And I said, I got to see if it's just me. So I posted something on social media. People responded. So people are feeling it. And it's been 2 months and another close friend posted something last week. And I was like, I got to say something. We can't have this brother out here like this. I know people don't want to talk about it, but I feel like we have to. I feel like somebody has to pull him close and say, listen, man, it's been over a year. We can pull it now. He's just out there like that. And nobody wants to say, and I love him. That's why I'm saying something.
I ain't saying nothing.
That commercial needs to be pulled off the air, point blank, period. It's horrible.
I feel like that commercial ain't for us. It ain't, and not everything's for us. You know what I mean? Just let the brother live.
Well, then we should not be in it using our cultural art. Our mediums. We should not be in it. It's like LeBron James sitting in a barbershop. Who are you fooling? We know you don't have no hair.
Mental health.
Okay. So somebody go get Common some help because he can't see that it's horrible.
She said it's like LeBron.
It's been a year. LeBron in the barbershop. We know LeBron's hair is not there, and he has a show called The Shop, like he getting a haircut. And shame on the barber.
Hey, okay? You're going too far.
I love LeBron.
You're going too far.
I love these people.
This goes back to that point.
It's been a year. You said when we have all the evidence. We have the evidence.
We do have all the evidence.
Audience, I know that when you hear this episode.
I know it was a hard one. And
I know.
That was a hard one, Crystal. That was a hard one. That was a hard one.
I gave it a whole year.
No.
That was
you know how much money he done made off that commercial?
That was a hard one.
I'm just saying.
This leads me to my point blank period.
I
would like to petition that we have a whole entire Black History Month do the fuck over.
I'm with you on that.
Point blank period.
I feel like nothing happened.
A lot happened. A lot between all the blackface admissions.
Yes.
You know,
and then if you compare it to the Black History Month that we had last year
with Beyonce, and we had Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
it was like a very low Black History Month.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. That's a good one.
Throw the whole month away.
Throw the whole shit.
I feel you.
You're right. That was a good one.
That was a good one. You brought us back. You brought the first two was kind of rough. We had to confront some things that we don't necessarily want to confront as a people. But it's necessary. But
we can all agree.
We can all.
This was a trash ass Black History Month. Also, back to my original point, that's even more reason Black folks should have kept their mouth shut. It was Black History Month. You couldn't have waited till March. You know what? That goes back to my original point.
We got no home training. We don't have no home training. That's what it is.
Okay, I think we're done. This is just a lot.
That's it. I'm over it. All right.
That was a rough Black Mama say. That got our pressure.
I got my pressure pill right here. Let me take it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so that concludes episode 23. So thank you again for joining us, for hanging in there with us.
Ooh, y'all, we don't know. We never know what this is going to turn out.
Never know what it's going to be. So thank you for hanging in there with us.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Dim Black Mamas, and support our partner, Hillman Apothecary.
And don't forget to check out our website at www.dimblackmamas.com. You can also send us your thoughts about the show, show us some love, and ask us some questions at dimblackmamas@gmail.com.
This advice will get you right with the Underground Railroad. Nekisha will get you pumping with breastside manner. Look at me using all the hashtags. That's what I
all of them.
Sir. So if you have any topic suggestions, please email us or send us a DM. And that's all we got. And we ain't got no more.
That's it.
What is the new? We're no longer Namaste. What are we?
Are we on Level Up? Is this your Level Up?
Okay, so that's all we got. We ain't got no more. Level up.
Level up. We level up and then we level down.
Level down. Okay.
We're Sierra when you need her.
So funny.
Okay. All right. That's all we got.